You probably celebrate Independence Day, but will you celebrate Bill of Rights Day? We'll discuss that next on the Constitution Study.
Every day, we're everyday Americans. Hold our own and call it home. Put it all on a little piece of land. Pay the bills, stay out of jail, love the neighbors and have a few good friends. Every day, we're everyday Americans.
Well, hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution, and we teach the rising generation to be free. I'm glad you could join me today. As always, I'm going to point you to the website, www.constitutionstudy.com. It's where you find everything that I'm working on at the Constitution Study. You'll find these videos, the articles that go with them. You'll find the opportunity to ask questions, to interact, to request I come speak at one of your events, to purchase books, to support the organization, or just to find material that you can share with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers. I have a Ponder This episode coming up that actually will talk a little bit about that. But to me, it's important to look at the website, find the information, and then figure out where and how we can share this if we wish to continue to be a free nation, if we wish to continue to have the rights we cherish so much. The rights, some of which are protected and embodied by this Bill of Rights that we're going to talk about. Now, Bill of Rights Day is really not talked about. It's not on most calendars, but I think it's a day worth remembering. You see, there's a proclamation number 2524, that says, "Now, therefore, I, Franklin D. Roosevelt, President of the United States of America, do hereby designate December 15th, 1941 as Bill of Rights Day. And I call upon the officials of the government and upon the people of the United States to observe the day by displaying the flag of the United States on public buildings and by meeting together for such prayer and such ceremonies as may seem to them appropriate." You see, on September 25th, 1789, the first Congress of the United States of America fulfilled a promise, and they passed a joint resolution proposing a Bill of Rights to the states for ratification. This joint resolution included 12 amendments, not the 10 that we think of with the Bill of Rights. On December 15th, 1791, the 12 amendments proposed from that joint resolution of Congress, well, they were ratified by the states. So on this 228th anniversary of this historical occurrence, yes, all Americans should observe the day, and not just by displaying the flag, but by learning more about what our Bill of Rights actually says. You see, when the Constitution was sent to the states for ratification, several of them had serious concerns. Now, the first few states passed it without a problem, but then we started seeing issues. See, they were concerned that there weren't any protections for individual rights. Now, this was due in no small part to the work of a gentleman by the name of George Mason. He is one of 3 delegates to the convention who actually refused to sign the Constitution because it did not include a Bill of Rights. Now, at that time, there were 2 groups vying for influence on the Constitution and its ratification: the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. Now, the Federalists were in favor of a more powerful central government. They did not believe we needed a Bill of Rights. This was based on the idea that since the power to infringe on people's rights was not explicitly delegated to the new federal government, they would have no authority to do so. See, the Federalists were actually concerned that by listing rights in the Constitution, well, people in government would one day believe that gave them the authority to regulate those rights. The Anti-Federalists were concerned about the abuses of a powerful central government and what they might inflict on the people. Remember, we had just fought a war putting off a powerful central government. Their concern was that by not explicitly protecting the rights of the people, that central government would one day take upon themselves the authority to do so. Interesting enough, history has shown both sides were correct. See, the Federalists were correct that once people got the idea that listing rights in the Constitution, there would be a government that would assume the power to regulate them. And the Anti-Federalists were correct because as the central government grew more and more powerful, it began more and more infringing on the rights of the people. Now, again, back to the ratification, the proposed Constitution, well, it was not going to pass. There were enough states that were concerned about this Bill of Rights and other issues that there weren't the 9 necessary to ratify this new document. Then 2 anti-federalists in the state of Massachusetts, they came up with an idea. They would be willing to support ratification of the Constitution if the first Congress submitted a Bill of Rights as amendments to it. No other states agreed, and the Constitution was ratified. If it wasn't for this compromise, this willingness to trust that Congress would fulfill the promise and give them a Bill of Rights to vote on, who knows what would have happened? Because the Constitution that we know and we here at the Constitution Study love would not be, at least not in the form that it is today. So if you have a copy of your Constitution, or you can watch on the screen, pull it up and look. You'll notice there's a preamble to the Bill of Rights. It starts out, the conventions of a number of the states having at the time of their adopting the Constitution expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the benefit and the beneficent ends of its institution. You see, that preamble that begins the Bill of Rights, well, it describes not only the amendments that were being proposed, but a large part of why we have them. You see, since a number of states were concerned about the protection of rights in the new union, the proposed amendments were created to, quote, prevent misconstruction or abuse of power. How is this done? This was done with further declaratory and restrictive clauses. But restrictive on who? The answer is restrictive on government. So that's why why the Bill of Rights is made up predominantly of things the governments are not allowed to do, along with a few things that the governments are required to do. For example, Congress cannot pass laws restricting the free exercise of religion, speech, press, peaceable assembly, or petition. Governments cannot restrict your ability to keep and bear arms, have a trial by jury, or quarter troops in your home without your permission. Governments are required to gain a valid warrant before searching or seizing you or your property. They need to make sure that you can call a witness in your favor at trial, and to compensate you if your property is taken for public use. Sure, the Bill of Rights was a tactic. It was used to gain support for the ratification of the new Constitution. But that was not its only purpose. See, by specifically protecting the rights of the people, these amendments helped extend public trust in their government. Sadly, in America today, public trust in government has fallen to an all-time low. I believe in large part because the government no longer follows the Constitution. See, they ignore the Bill of Rights when it's inconvenient, and the courts bless it as long as they can show a compelling interest in infringing your rights. One of the main purposes of the Bill of Rights was to increase public confidence in the government, and by not following it, that confidence has eroded. As I've said before, history has shown that both the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists were correct. The Anti-Federalists had good reason to be concerned about a powerful central government. See, much like the monarchy we declared independence from, Washington, D.C. today seems bent on infringing on the very rights they were created to protect. The Federalist notion that a central government would not restrict rights because they were not granted the power to do so is proven to be as thin as tissue paper. Our rights that are to be protected by the first 10 amendments are being infringed upon each and every day. Yet the people do nothing. The Federalists' concern that by listing rights, someone would one day believe that gave them the right to regulate them has also proven correct. We find the government regulating the exercise of religion in the name of separation of church and state, regulating the ability to keep and bear arms. They also grant themselves the authority to ignore your rights, your right to be secure in your person, houses, papers, and effects, as long as they come up with a reason that they think is good enough. Until the American people learn for themselves what is and is not in the Bill of Rights, well, it will remain as effective and useful as the ink on parchment that it is. You see, it's only when we use the words on the page, the ideas they represent, to choose our elected representatives, to hold them accountable for their actions. Only then will the Bill of Rights once again extend the ground of public confidence in our government. So Today, Bill of Rights Day, pick up your copy of the Constitution or find it online. You can find it at archive.gov and read the Bill of Rights for yourself. And if you want to learn more, well, you can always read my book, The Bill of Rights, along with other books you can find at the website, on the bookstore, constitutionstudy.com. Most of all, I hope you have a wonderful and an educational Bill of Rights Day. Maybe one day we will celebrate Bill of Rights Day along with Independence Day and Constitution Day as holidays in the United States of America. I hope you'll take some time, put it in the comments below. Tell me how you are going to celebrate Bill of Rights Day. Tell me what you've done. Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what you think. Maybe ask a question about a specific right or a specific amendment in the Bill of Rights. I've written on a lot of them, but there's always more questions that can be asked. As always, I'm going to, once again, please point you to theconstitutionstudy.com. Head over there. Again, you can find out what's going on. I've started doing my monthly live broadcast live and in person in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Come and join me. Register for the event. You can also find it on Facebook. There's an event. You can watch live. I'm looking at other opportunities. You can ask me to come speak at events. I'm actually set up a system now where you don't have to bring me out to your location. I can do a web-based event anywhere in the world. Although pretty much I'm talking to the English-speaking world and pretty much focusing on the United States of America. So if you have an event and you'd like me to come in either live in person or over the web, reach out, head to the website, under events, you'll see speaking requests, and let me know what you're talking about. We'll see what we can do. Most of all, I hope you'll help support what the Constitution Study is trying to do. Take our information, share it among your friends, among your family. If you can, buy some of the material, buy the books, donate to the cause. This is all about educating the people so we have an educated electorate so that we can have a better class of representative both in Washington and in our state houses. I hope you will enjoy your Bill of Rights Day. I hope you found this educational, maybe motivational. Hopefully it motivated you enough that I will see you here next time on the Constitution Study.
One thing you have to know wherever you make your stand came from